I'm actually in Thailand now as I'm recording this, and I'm going to make some comments on living in Thailand versus living in Colombia. For now, let's take a look at the last monthly budget. So the total amount was about the same, $1,561. Rent was $830, which was a little cheaper because the U.S. dollar was a little stronger. I had some healthcare issues, so I went to the doctor and the hospital, and it cost about $305. So that's sort of a one-off. But if you're a retiree and you're kind of older, you're going to have some healthcare issues, and the health insurance that you have in the United States is not going to cover it. So you're going to have to pay out of pocket, but it is a little cheaper. Dining out was $303. Groceries, $71. Transit, which includes taking Ubers, was about $22. My cell phone plan was $15. And sort of shopping for household goods was about $15. So now there is another expense, and it was my healthcare premiums for the United States. So if you want to include that in, it was $400. So including healthcare premiums, it was $1,961. Now, I do recommend having health insurance if you're not old enough to have Medicare, and I'm not yet at that age, so that if something were to happen, for example, you have cancer, I would fly back to the United States and have my healthcare covered by the insurance, so that the huge healthcare bill for some sort of major medical issue would be covered, mostly. The video I'm kind of showing is just part of that boat tour when I went to the mountain in Guatape. So that's the background. I also show you some video of the type of apartment you can rent for $800 to $850. You can see it's not a big place. It doesn't have a balcony. There's not much of a view, but you've got a kitchen. You've got a bedroom with a TV, and you have a clean, modern bathroom, right? So it basically has everything you need, and it's located in a good location in Larelas. So I was very content at setting up house here in Larelas on a short-term, like month-to-month basis, where you can rent for just a couple of days or a week or a month and that sort of thing. So you can see was actually been 3 months in Colombia, but in all 3 months the budget was about the same, which is about $1,500. That's a very reasonable amount of money relative to living in the United States, where I'm from. So I think that you can live in Colombia for a very reasonable price, and it's even cheaper if you move out of Medellin, right, which is the most expensive place in Colombia, and you move to a smaller city. So if you want to save even more money on rent, you just need to move away from the major tourist areas like Poblado or Larelas, and you'll be fine, I think, on $1,200 a month. For healthcare, if you want to keep the healthcare, for example, in the United States, when you turn 65, you will have Medicare, so that will kind of take care of the issue. But in the time between 65 and how old you are now, you do have to think about what happens if I get really hurt or I have some medical condition? The answer is you might want to buy some sort of healthcare insurance policy in the United States, and that's going to cost you a lot of money. But it's just one of those precautions that you would consider. There is a international healthcare policy where it covers most of the medical expenses that you incur in Colombia, right? So you've got two things going on. One is that the medical bill will be lower in Colombia, and you're basically paying for it from this insurance policy, which is actually a lot less than buying a U.S.-based health insurance plan, which covers you in the United States. All in all, after 3 months in Colombia, what did I think about the experience? I enjoyed living in Colombia, or Medellin actually, right? I think it's very reasonable. The people are very nice. You do have an issue of crime that you always have to be aware of. But I was in Medellin for 3 months in a building with no security, and I was able to survive. And I think that if you take basic precautions, you should be okay. But that also means you can't be walking around drunk at 3 a.m. in the morning and then walking back to your apartment, period. You can't be inviting girls from Tinder and going drinking with them in your apartment, right? So those are sort of the basic things. I have a video on do you need to speak Spanish in Medellin, Colombia, or just generally in Colombia. And the consensus was it helps, but you can survive not speaking Spanish if you have your cell phone with you and you can use Google Translate. But it's better if you could speak some Spanish. The weather in Colombia is outstanding, period. The weather in Colombia is outstanding. It is called the city of eternal spring for a reason. The weather's great. The time zone matches up completely with the East Coast time zone in the United States. So if you want to watch football in Colombia, it's the same time. Now, this is a great thing because right now I'm in Thailand. If I want to watch football, the games start on Sunday at 1 a.m. and about 4:30 a.m. So it's like crazy, and it's hard for me to get adjusted to. If I want to trade in the market, the stock market, I got to start trading at 9:30 at night, right? And it runs all the way until early morning. So if you're a guy who's monitoring the stock market and you want to be there at the closing and you want to be there at the opening, it's going to be a long night. Whereas in Colombia, it's the same as if you were in the United States doing what you normally do. It also makes it easier just to call friends, right, in normal hours. Here in Thailand, if I want to call someone at 10 a.m., I have to be thinking that Thailand is 12 hours ahead of the East Coast in the United States. So you go, okay, 10 a.m. in the morning, I got to call them at 10 p.m. here. So you always have to kind of work in your mind, like, okay, what time is it? So that's a little tricky. It's something you don't have to worry about in Colombia.